Afternoon all. It's another hot Saturday afternoon. Well, I'm not going to lie and say I'm really pleased with the outcome of the covering of the arch with the plastic film, because I'm quite disappointed. I did do a previous video of the actually putting it on yesterday. I've put it together roughly. I may or may not post it in the end because yeah, it's not as nice as I would have hoped, and obviously that's reflected in my totting up at the end of the video. So as you might have seen, or might have an idea if you've seen this being done before, putting all this stuff on the flat areas, you know, it's not too bad. But it's when you start curving it around the arches and you've got to sort of reduce the amount of plastic going into one place, so you've obviously got too much going in, it can cause whip oil effects. As you know, anyone that's done this sort of thing before, wrapped, you know, done wallpaper or done any sort of wrapping will be aware it's obviously quite challenging. Watched a few tutorials on YouTube first of all, and you know, obviously it's quite easy to stretch it using hot air gun or air dryer, and some products will actually shrink as well using similar sort of techniques, but I've been unable to get it to shrink. So what I ended up doing in the end, after getting quite a good bubble this covering on the flat areas, is I ended up sort of trying to shrink it around, trying to wrap it, which didn't really work at all. Obviously I was stretching okay this way, I just ended up with more and more sort of being gathered all the time, and then just getting more and more wrinkles at the other end. So tried for maybe an hour or so to sort of make it pretty even and sort of foul, so I had to sort of take a bit of drastic action, because by this time you've got the sticky exposed, and obviously you know, you've got things sticking to it all the time, so you've got to sort of really work on the fly. So what I had to do in the end was make a few cuts, and then probably about 4 inches apart around, and then sort of drag it together, and then obviously try to make a nice cut between the two, so it's a nice sort of crisp line between the two sections that you've put on there. Obviously what doesn't help, you've still got the exterior covering on it, the final protective covering, so if you're sticking one or the other, you're going to trap in pulling off one of the covers, so you've really sort of got to bite the bullet and pull bits off as you go around. So yeah, it's all gone on. Unfortunately I'm not particularly happy, as I said, with where I've got obviously the creases and where things are overlapped, and you've got a little sort of, you know, bubbling effect, and where I pulled it on and off a few times it does stretch, and does mean you've got even more excess. So yeah, a little bit upset isn't the right word, just disappointed. I will do a little bit more research, see if I can improve on it at all in the future. I've got the other arts to do yet, obviously. The flat piece I did before, obviously being flat with nice square corners, weren't too bad. And also realistic, you know, once you know, look at the car a couple of times, jump in, and you know, you'll never be noticed again, good or bad. But obviously the paint covering may be more protective, obviously having done what I've done. So long term it may not matter what it looks like, as in what I'm not happy with is just the fact that overall the paint will stay on. As you can see, trying to move this around without dropping it off the workmate, I spent the last half an hour or so just bolting on the extended stone guard. Obviously, as you might have seen, the original one was much smaller. Just some of the original hex head or Allen key screws I had before, just some washers and nuts on the back, which I quite like, which comes out okay. Obviously I've got to do the other arch the same as well. Eventually I've still got to go over that with the wet and dry before the polishing, and then put the same sort of covering on again. So hopefully the other one I might learn a bit more. What I might do with the other one is I might try cutting the slots first of all, even when with the sticky side still on it, and then see if I can actually gather it in a little bit more, and so I don't end up with the sort of creases I've got on this one. So yeah, we'll see, work in progress. You can always take it off if I want to. That'll really test whether my paint's properly stuck onto the panels, and maybe have another go. I did even consider laying it on this side first and putting it down that way, but just sort of think about it, I think I end up with the same sort of issue. You would naturally think that it would, you'd end up with not enough material, but having tried it out just earlier on, it just seems to create the same sort of problem. So yeah, that's how it's come out. Hopefully the other one will come out a little bit better, and this one will stay on long enough to see if it's worth the effort.